Hi, my name is Pradeep and today I'm here with my teammates Rajesh Boja and Sandeep Chittur to discuss about our project. And today we are going to discuss about homicides and socioeconomic factors and analysis on community level crime patterns in Chicago. Now I would like to discuss the project into three phases. That is, in the first phase we are going to discuss about methodology, introduction, objectives and benefits, followed by the second phase wherein we are going to discuss about data preparation and exploratory analysis, and the last phase we are going to discuss about model design and recommendations. Now, to start with methodology, we have used CRISP DM methodology. There are like 6 phases in our DM methodology. The first phase is business understanding, wherein we have formulated our problem, and followed by our data understanding, wherein we understood the data which is required for analysis. Then we have prepared data into a right format wherein we could analyze the data. Then the modeling phase, we have used different tools to model the data, and followed by the evaluation. Now, there's a saying that victims are not the only victims. Now, this is a very relevant statement. In our community, we looked at any crime which happens, it not only affects the victim, it affects the entire community. And to start with, the homicides have very high impact on economy of the society, and we all know that homicides take a toll on society in terms of loss of human life. Now, we are looking at the homicide data which have occurred between 2009 and 13 and which have led to an arrest in the Chicago community areas. Our analysis will be focused on examining relationship between socioeconomic factors, community, and its effect on homicide rate. The prime objective is to analyze relationship between homicides and socioeconomic factors, identify the locations where homicides occur the most, identify the communities which gets affected the most, identify the race which gets affected the most, identify the major causes of the homicide. When I say socioeconomic factors, the major socioeconomic factors which we are considering are median household income, percentage of people unemployed, percentage of population without high school diploma, percentage of households living below poverty line. Now, this is a great saying that successful innovations require learning from experience, and that is, and our benefits are something like that. Since we have abundant crime data available, we can always do analysis, and the results can be definitely used by different departments in the United States. Since this project deals with crime data and socioeconomic analysis, the concerned officials from different departments in the United States can use it to formulate policies for crime prevention. Now, when I come for data preparation part, I'll give the presentation to my teammate Rajesh Boja to take over. Thank you.
Thanks, Pradeep. As Pradeep talked about the data preparation part of the CRISP medium methodology, we will look into detail of the data preparation. There are 5 contents of this phase, that is data access, data consolidation, data cleaning, data transformation, and data revision. Let's look at it in detail. Data access. As we need data related to Chicago City, we identified that we need to collect the Chicago process and website in detail, and the reason we went for Chicago detail website is this is the official website, and we actually collected this data from the Chicago data portal, and also homicides were collected from the Red Eye portal. These 2 websites were dealt with the homicides related to Chicago, and as we dealt with the socioeconomic factors, we used 2 websites, so this Chicago Tribune and City Data Portal, and we realized that this is enough information to go ahead with data access. And we identified that this is good data and also trusted source. Let's look at the data consolidation. The issue we had is we need one Excel sheet so that it can be used for the modeling and also for business intelligence tools like Tableau. The procedure we followed is we used Microsoft Excel, and we need to group this 3 sheets into one Excel sheet, and we've formed a resultant Excel sheet by grouping using community number and also case number. As this process was followed using R, and we used RStudio for this to get the final data set. Let's look at this data cleaning. We got, after we sorted out this single data sheet, we identified there were missing values using the R and SAS tool. So we identified this using, and the process we followed is we replaced the missing values, as we cannot remove or replace by mean or median, as this is a categorical variable, and this value was related to the race in the data. Let's look at the data transformation now. The problem we here are there was one column related to date and time, and it was necessary for us to split into date and time, as we're dealing with time category in exploratory analysis using Tableau. And we gone ahead and decided to split into two separate columns, that is date and time. And time was necessary to split into 24 different categories, and this was done by ceiling function using Microsoft Excel. This is the data direction. As we come to the final data preparation, in this stage we identify there are a lot of variables which are not dealt with homicides or socioeconomic factors, that is Chicago portal. So we identified to reduce all variables and clean the data further, and we achieved this by removing all columns pertaining to the data direction part. So finally we got the entire data set that's go ahead for the BI tools and also used for exploratory analysis. Now let's look for this is that data dictionary, which talks about the entire, that is data about data, which talks about column name and the description. Let's go ahead with the exploratory analysis using Tableau. And this bar chart shows some interesting facts, that is shows about number of sites versus time of the day. This clearly shows there's a pattern around here, and that there is a decreasing trend over here. The decreasing trend amounts to the data time slots, that is the first, there is like first slot points out to the 12 AM to 1 AM slot in the midnight, and we see that there is further decrease as time goes by in the particular day. The number of homicides also decreases. This is like homicides versus location factor. We actually grouped it, and there was like fact we dealt with, that is the major part was the street one where homicides occur the most, and followed by apartment and house, and then further auto and alley. This is like the cause where homicides is on which homicides occur, and the main cause we identify is gunshot. We also took gunshot. Apart from this, there were other relevant causes, so we identified that there is the stabbing and assault case apart from gunshot, which was the primary cause. This is versus ethnicity, that is homicides versus black and white guys, and we identified this victims are the main reason, the victims which are affected by the homicides are the black, and this is huge in number, and we clearly show that there is a deep pocket of black here where homicides occurred. And this is like median household income. You can see from the following figure that the people with low, the society where there is low, medium and household income, there were no more number of homicides. This is like an unemployment level. Where there is high unemployment, there were huge number of homicides reported. Now I'll hand over to Sandeep.
Thank you, Rajesh, for going to the data preparation part. Now I'm here to explain the rest of the modeling and the test design and the other phases. Now what we did was, in the test design, basically you partition the data into training, validation and testing data set. Training data set is used to build the model. The testing data set is used to see how well the model fits outside the training data set. And the validation data set is used to estimate the efficiency and the accuracy of the model. Generally, you partition the data set when the data set is very big. In our case, the data set was very small. Like the number of records we had was just 70. It is not correct to partition such a small data set, as it will lead to inappropriate results and it doesn't give proper models and results. So we try to go for other processes. The best alternative that we found was to draw subsamples. We drew two subsamples, the training data set and the testing data set, using 80% of the sample of the original data set, and using a random seed. That is, we ensured that the random seed was different in both the cases, so that we got two different training and testing data set. The training data set was used to build the model, and the testing data set was used to see how well the model fits outside the training data set. The target variable that we used in our case was the homicide level. Like, we wanted to see whether the homicide level will be high or low. And to judge this, we use the predictor variables, the median household income, the percentage of households below poverty line, the percentage of population unemployed, and the population with no high school or diploma. To see how the target variable is dependent on a predictor variables, we had to build models. the output variable that we are using is a categorical variable, that is whether it is high or low. It is a flag, basically it is high or it is low. To see this, we had to build models. Now there are a lot of modeling techniques that can be used, but we did some research to choose which model is likely to fit our data the best. So we came up with these three models: the Bayesian network, the C5, which is the decision tree, and then the logistic regression. Now let us see how these models performed on our data set. The first model, the Bayesian network. The best part of the Bayesian network is it uses the conditional probabilities to see whether, given a probability of event has occurred, how probable is the other event to occur. So the predictive variables that we used are these four, and as you can see, the most important predictive variable is the percentage of population with no high school or diploma. And the other variables follow in a descending order. This got the maximum predictive importance of around 40%. Now this network is built showing the relationship between the target variable and the predictor variables. The importance is shown over here. The darkest gets the most high importance. The red one shows the target variable. Now these are the results of our training and testing data set. The results are pretty good. On the training data set, it showed 83.64%, and on the testing data set, it showed 90%. That means that our model performed well on both the data sets. Next, the C5 model. The C5 is basically a decision tree which does a binary split. Now, the important thing to notice here is it gave importance to only one variable, that is the percentage of households below poverty line. It ignored all the other variables. If the percentage of households below poverty line is low, then the homicide level is low, and if the percentage of households below poverty line is high, then the homicides are high. This shows that if there are more people above poverty line, then the homicides are more likely to occur in that area. Now this is the split. It did on percentage of households below poverty line, the testing and the training data set results. The logistic regression, this draws an equation for the probability to be low. It uses all the four predictor variables, and as you can see, the significance of all these variables. Now to assess the model, we consider the advantages, disadvantages, accuracy, and how well does the model fit our data. Let us look into advantages or disadvantages. The Bayesian network, the main advantage is that it explains a categorical target variable very well based on the predictor variables. It also considers a conditional probability in our case, and the weakness is that it sometimes overfits the data, and it requires comparatively large effort to model the data. The C5 model, it is easy to build and implement. It deals with the missing values very well. But the disadvantage here is that it doesn't fit the when the model doesn't fit the data when the training data set is very small, and it shows very good implementation. The logistic regression, it is very well equipped to handle nonlinear effects, and the biggest disadvantage here again is that sometimes it needs a large amount of data set to give proper prediction of a target variable. That is, if the data set is very small, then the accuracy might not always be good. Now choosing the best model. As you can see, we consider three models: the Bayesian network, the logistic regression, and the classification tree. Now we needed to choose one model which fits our data the best. We came up with Bayesian network. Now let me explain why we think this model fits the data the best. We did a lot of research on Bayesian networks, and it suggests that it is very good when the output variable is a categorical variable. It considered all the predictors in our case, and it shows an accuracy of very high of 90% on the training data set and also on the testing data set. It considered all the variables while building the model, and it also fits the model very well. So we feel that the Bayesian network is the best model to predict our homicide level, which will be high or low based on the target variables. After this, we did the predictive analysis to show in future which communities are at the risk of being homicide level high. So we set the equation to be high and the confidence to be 70%. Now let us see our results. As you can see, these are the 15 communities which shows with the 70% confidence that they will be definitely on the high homicide level. That is, the number of homicides occurring in these communities will be more than the average in the Chicago area. So these are the communities which are at the risk of being very high. Now the conclusions that we drew from our analysis is that initially we drew the homicide level from 2009 to 2013, which led to arrest. We consolidated in a single data set, and we built the models to predict our output variable. The recommendations that we give from our project is that the number of homicides occurring on the street are very high. So we suggest there should be more surveillance on the street, so that it might lead to less number of homicides. And the race that is getting affected the most in our case is the blacks. So it shows that where the communities which have a high percentage of black ethnicity, there is more probability that it will be more. And based on our analysis, it has shown that the median household income and the percentage of households below poverty line are two important socioeconomic factors which which will decide if the level of homicides will be high or low. If the median household income is low, that means there will be more homicides occurring in that area. And if the percentage of household income is very high, then that also means that the homicide level in that community is likely to be very high. These are the list of 15 communities which will have a definitely very high homicide rate. Originally, we planned to analyze the relationship between socioeconomic factors and our homicides, the time where it is more likely to occur. So finally, what we delivered was exactly what we promised in the beginning. The socioeconomic factors which have very high influence on the homicide level are median household income and the percentage of households below poverty line. And there are 13 communities which are at the risk of being very high in homicide pattern. The lessons that we learned is, initially we need to have a very good project objective and goals. Like the project objective should be very specific to a particular scope, so that our analysis will be good. The collecting and preparing data is a second important phase, because it takes up a lot of time. And the modeling technique should be chosen carefully to see which model fits our data the best. And you need to do a lot of background check on these models to see which model to choose. And then we would like to thank our project guide, Dr. Brian Hammer, for helping us throughout the project and guiding us wherever we felt it was difficult. Now, to answer any queries, you can contact all three of us, Pradeep, Sandeep, or Rajesh, and we'll be ready to answer all your queries whenever possible. So thank you. This was a presentation on the analysis between the homicide level and the socioeconomic factors. Thank you.